Hey there, podcasters. Thanks for choosing Movie Groove. If you're a regular listener, or even if you're a version groover, why not take a moment to like, subscribe, or even leave an encouraging comment. Every week, Movie Groove brings you news, reviews, and cheap shots at Michael Bay. All for a low, no price, or nothing per download. So enjoy the show. Like, subscribe, and comment. It's a little shop that shows a little love.
Very good, Robbie.
I couldn't hear it.
Movie Groove, 7 to 9 Thursdays on Energy Groove Radio.
Welcome back to Energy Groove Radio. We're transmitting live from the beautiful city of Sydney and all around the world. The show you're listening to is called Movie Groove. My name is Alister Lockhart, and sitting with me in the chair is the inimitable Joth Raj.
How's it going?
Pretty good. Hang on, I've got to give you one of these.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. No, it's deserved. And a big shout out to Jotham's mum. She's a regular listener. Hi,
I don't
Joth.
know if she's listening tonight.
Hey, Jotham's mum. Don't you worry about Erin. Everything's going to be everything, Jotham's mum.
And
It's
now
gonna
she's
be
never listening.
All right. No, hello, Mrs. Doraraj. Much respect. You raised a good boy. Anyway, it's true. So, without much further ado, we're going to get the show started. We always like to start each and every show with entertainment news from all around the galaxy. This is the bit that we call episode 22, a News Hope. And in News Hope this week, we've got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm afraid so. They scored one of the biggest openings ever for August, despite being everything fans were expecting and less. In an August, on track to be the biggest ever, and could even be the first to pass $1 billion, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles ruled the weekend box office with $65.6 million. This strong opening can only be attributed to the drawing power of the Ninja Turtles brand, which was created in a spontaneous and cynical hissy fit over the drawing power of exactly this kind of crap dominating popular culture 35 years ago. Yes, the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles just went like,
I'm sure he would.
scribbled on a piece of paper, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja, I don't know, Turtles, pfft, who cares? And now the guy's as rich as Croesus. That's because he published himself. He owns 100%, so
There you go.
so he gets all the money, not just a little bit of it. The creators of Superman, the creators of Batman, they got dick. But the creator of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Does he have one of those swimming pools with money?
Probably. He's got the kind of money that buys and sells people. He's not rich, he's wealthy.
Oh.
There's a distinct, like, he drives tanks for fun. You know, I've rolled another tank, I'll have to buy another one of those. He liked the magazine Heavy Metal when he was a kid. It doesn't make any money, but he keeps it going because it's fly shit to him. So, yeah. And it's you people that keep giving him money. I don't know the Turtles. I don't mind the Turtles, really.
Yeah, but you like the original comic books, don't you?
Yeah, but the original comic books, the characters weren't really all that well developed. They were entirely interchangeable. The only way of telling them apart really was that they had different names and different weapons, and that was it. Even when they colorized the old black and white stuff, they all still had red bandanas. But then when the cartoon came out, it wasn't as... Because I was all hooked on the dark and gritty angle of Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, and the Turtles had a similar tone, if a little bit lighter. It was definitely goofy and stupid, but it had that serious edge to it. So when the cartoon came out, and they all had like brightly colored, rainbow-colored bandanas, and they're going, "Cowabunga, dude! Oh, I love pizza, dude!" And Bebop and Rocksteady were just stuff that they made up. Kang was a character that was a whole race in the comic.
Oh, okay.
It was a whole race of brain creatures who went about in these robots that they controlled. For the cartoon, they just went, well, there's one, and he's the main bad guy. So, of course, being a normal person, I went, I don't like things that are different. So from that point on, I always hated it. So I hated the movie, and then I hated the next one, I hated the next one, I hate this one too. I hate everything, except for you, Joth.
I know. Why would you hate me?
There's no reason. I can't think of a single reason why I would. Older moviegoers, over 25 at least, have an inexplicable fondness for the Turtles of the 80s and 90s, while children have formed a connection with the Turtles via the recent and very popular Nickelodeon animated show, which I haven't seen because life is finite and I have trolling to do. This new version managed to align nicely with the existing brand while also creating something visually distinct from its predecessors, primarily with the CGI turtles and Michael Bay style action. As a result, it drew strong interest from moviegoers young and old. According to Paramount, the audience was 55% over the age of 25. But poor reviews and mixed word of mouth, Ninja Turtles will do no more than 160 mil, but fans needn't worry because more inevitable disappointment is to come. More Turtles are to be released into the sewers, both literally and metaphorically. The sequel has been greenlit and slated for June of 2016. Yay! In other news, Hope, Guardians of the Galaxy was in second place. It fell 55% to 42.1 million, which is the biggest second weekend of the summer. It looks on track to be the biggest movie of the summer season. And as you'll know by now, the film's opening came close to Captain America the Winter Soldier's 95 million and was higher than Thor the Dark World. Pretty good going for a property unknown to even die-hard comic fans just 1 year ago, many of whom are now pretending that they've been fans of the property all along. I am. Oh yes, Guardians of the Galaxy, I know all about them. The new film.
Sarcasm?
Yeah, no, that's sarcasm.
Okay.
Sorry, I don't do sarcasm very well. You can never tell because my face doesn't change expression very much.
I think we need to get you a sign.
Like,
I'll make you one for next week.
I'll do. Okay, so I've got to have a little sarcasm symbol, like when I finger quote stuff.
Yep, perfect.
Right. So what's the sarcasm symbol going to be like this?
Yep.
Yep. Okay. So middle finger up. All right. This is sarcasm, Joth.
Yep. No worries.
Got it. The film also opened above recent costumed Super Turd, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, and the increasingly tired X-Men series' latest Days of Future Past. Apart from Cap, it only trails Transformers: Age of Explosions this year. And how to explain this huge opening? Well, goodwill from a string of quality flicks spun from fondly remembered goofball crap. It's like when moviegoers had such trust in the Pixar brand that they turned up in big numbers to see a movie where the main character is the lone trash bot of the apocalypse. That was a weird one.
Which one was that one?
You know, Wall-E.
Oh, that one.
Well, the first half hour of the movie, nothing. No dialogue or whatever, just this little booger. And it's still okay.
And then there were the fat people on the...
Yeah, they said things, I guess. There's not a lot of dialogue in that film. Anyway, good marketing doesn't hurt. It's a standard character-driven Save the Galaxy scenario, so focusing on those characters was the smartest play, particularly as they offered a little something for everyone. They have Chris Pratt for the ladies. Exit polls reveal a female audience of 44%, a raccoon and his pet golem for the kids, Zoe Saldana for dad, and Dave Bautista for the core audience of adolescent male virgins jerking it to the UFC. What?
It's funny how he's not even in UFC.
Well, no, that's true.
He's in...
But he's got the look. I looked at it and went, oh, he's got to be UFC wrestler. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of the UFC, did you hear about that douchebag that beat up the little girl the other day?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was going to do an editorial on that, and I thought, there's just no funny in that.
Yeah, there literally isn't.
He's just a massive douchebag.
Yeah.
Like, worse.
You were going to say the other word, but
I was going to, yeah.
I'm glad you didn't say the other
They
word.
call him the Count, but they don't spell it with the O. Yeah, so if you're out there, the guy calls himself War Machine. He's had his name legally changed. If you haven't heard this news story, he found his girlfriend, who's a porn starlet. I can't think of her name. Anyway,
Yeah, I think so.
so a massive trained UFC fighter MMA fighter, finds his girlfriend with another guy. So after ejecting the guy, he forces her to take a shower in front of him and then beats the living tar out of her, busts out her teeth, breaks her nose in 2 places. This picture's on the net and her face is swelled up like she got attacked by a pit bull, which is pretty damn close to what happened. Except pit bulls have balls.
He looks like an utter douchebag. I'm
Yeah.
looking at a photo of him. He looks like a...
What does it say on his shirt?
He's not wearing a shirt in most of these.
Because I
It's
saw a
just
picture of him
like-
today that he was wearing a shirt that said, I do alpha male shit. If
Ah.
you're wearing that shirt, then
I
yes,
just saw that picture.
you are So if you meet this person in person, you best kneel because you are in the presence of the king of the douchebags. So yeah, the instant you hit a woman, your genitals drop off. You are no longer a man. You are a pointless bag of shit, and you should be shafted and burned. Moving on, more broadly, back to Guardians of the Galaxy. The film It looks to have an element that seems to have been somewhat overlooked by many recent comic movie adaptations, that it's actually fun, Joth. Avoiding the inexplicably popular notion that superheroes must, by definition, be lonely, brooding, emo douchebags with daddy issues and no sense of humour. So who you're thinking of there, Hollywood execs, is your own kids.
I think, isn't that like just a template for a hero now?
No, well, it is now. After it worked so well with Batman, they went, oh, well, then what the kids want is a lonely, brooding, emo douchebag with daddy issues. Yeah. We'll make every superhero like that. So Superman as well. Wow, did they get the character wrong in that? But anyway.
Oh, guys, be original.
But this is just more nerd complaining, If you've been anywhere near the internet in the past year, then you've already heard all this stuff going, yeah, they buried up Superman. It's okay, there's going to be another one. One of them's going to hit the mark at some point, maybe. Into the Storm. It's the effects-heavy disaster porn flick described as Twister, but more windier. It opened in third place with 17.3 million. That's slightly lower than director Stephen Quayle's other B-movie schlock horror Final Destination 5, which opened to 18 million around the same time in 2011. However, it is a bit higher than Snakes on a Plane, a movie which pretty much wrote itself. Badly.
Enough is enough! I have had it with these
moderately frustrating
snakes on this
marginally functional
plane!
It's a classic line, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what you get when you invite people on the internet to write the movie for you. This is a line, is it? Oh, well, I'm getting paid. Okay. 1996's Twister featured Helen Hunt as a shrill ball breaker, Bill Paxton as a clueless twat, Jamie Gertz as Thickbot 2.0, and Philip Seymour Hoffman's movie debut as obligatory stoner, a role he later said he prepared for by chanting the mantra, "Your career will survive this. Your career will survive this." One criticism of this film is that unlike its overblown predecessor, it focused less on the human characters in favour of the special effects. Having seen it, I would have said that was overwhelmingly a point in its favour, although that's sort of like being grateful for a second larger plate of force-fed fecal matter having less corn in it. On the bright side, it's unlikely to crack 50 mil, so we're unlikely to see a sequel. It's a small mercy, but I'm going to take it. And we've got a 100-foot journey. A heartwarming parable about food and racism, starring confirmed GILF, Helen Mirren. No?
No.
Okay.
I'm young, remember?
No, you don't know what GILF is?
No.
Our grandmother I'd like to...
Oh.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, boy. Try and keep up.
Yeah, I think I'm just going to go hang myself.
Sure, all right, okay, fine then.
Wow, Galveston.
Fine. Helen Mirren. It opened to fourth place with 11 million. That's a bit higher than May's $1 Million Arm, a heartwarming parable about baseball and racism. But unfortunately, it paled in comparison to similar August releases like Eat, Pray, Love on 23.1 and Julie and Julia, two reasonably popular movies based on books which, like all blockbusting bestsellers for women, in no way confirm the offensive and inaccurate stereotype that women are obsessed with travel, food, and sex. I am not batting 1,000 today. Quiet, you crickets. I'm trying to do a radio show here. We're going to get through this. Step Up All In. The fifth installment of a franchise that's basically the Fast and Furious franchise with dancing instead of cars. It tanked. With 6.5 million this weekend, that's down 45% from the previous installment, which was already the lowest grossing outing in the franchise. So even with solid international returns, it would be surprising if a sixth movie got a theatrical release in the US. There's only so many ways a kid can dance his or her way off the streets, but apparently some audiences need to see it happen 5 times before that really sinks in. In any case, despite good reviews and solid word of mouth, Get On All Up crushed. Get On Up, I should say. The James Brown biopic?
Oh, yeah.
Hang on, I didn't do my Get On Up. There you go. Good reviews and solid word of mouth. That's an A cinema score. Get On Up got crushed in its second weekend. The James Brown biopic fell 62% to 5.2 mil, which brings its total to 23.1 million. That's a shame. The film opened to 13.6 last weekend. It's better than Jersey Boys, but then so is James Brown. Or getting stabbed by a stonefish. It's less than half of the opening of star Chadwick Boseman's last biopic, 42. That's the baseball one. Yeah. Jackie... I can't think of the baseball player's name. Jackie Robinson was the man's name. That got 27.5. It's also significantly lower than director Taylor's last movie, The Help, which got 35.9 in 5 days, probably because in this movie, the black guy didn't need to get rescued by white people, which is what white cinema goers want to see.
Yeah.
You know, so like, well, look, those black people got rescued by nice white people. There's my middle-class liberal white guilt. Just ameliorated for another week. Now I can go home and
Go to sleep.
open another bottle of Beaujolais. Anyway, the Godfather of Soul failed to get on up and was left bewildered in a cold, cold sweat without the payback he was expecting from his low-down popcorn. Yes, there was a time that James Brown had got the feeling and could easily make it funky, but perhaps living in America made him get up off of that thing. Well, this old heart is thinking, what kind of fool am I? And perhaps we all need to go back to the old landmark. It's too funky in here.
Way too funny. It's just like overpowering me.
Oh boy, that was truly awful, and that is it, thankfully, for A News Hope. And remember, when it comes to news, this source will be with you, always. Next on the show, we've got the segment of the show where we have a look at what's opening in theatres in Australia, and indeed all around the world. This is the opening scene. I'm not going to complain about it this time. Every time I play that clip, I complain about how crap I think it is.
You always complain about every clip that you've made.
No, I don't. The other ones I quite like, but that one is really not very good.
No, there was another one that you didn't like either.
Which one?
I forget which one, but...
No, it's not true. It's this one.
Is it?
I like all of them. It takes an inordinate amount of time to put those damn things together, so that's why it's still the way it is. But I work so hard for you people, you have no idea. None. Anyway, it's all for the love. And Expendables 3 is the first movie under the microscope here. Sylvester Stallone returns in the third installment of his bafflingly popular franchise about old men doing a self-aware parody of themselves in the movies that made them famous when your dad was 12. The film features Arnold Schwarzenegger as it features Arnold Schwarzenegger as an Easter Island statue. Harrison Ford as a bad wood carving of George W. Bush. Randy Couture as a boiled cauliflower with a face drawn on it. Dolph Lundgren as a papier-mâché effigy of himself. And Kelsey Grammer as the gay one. The film, an homage to some of the biggest and most respected names in the action blockbuster of yesteryear, also includes tax fraud Wesley Snipes, black marketeer Jason Statham, and alcoholic anti-Semite and woman-beater Mel Gibson. I can't... See you at the movies. It's so good that all of these beloved heroes of yesteryear have turned out to be such respectable types in their old age. Dream, 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 dream. Bruce Willis will not be returning in this installment as Mr. Church because only Bruce Willis would pass up $3 million for 4 days' work. He wanted to negotiate to $1 million a day.
You're an idiot.
Well, you know, Stallone later took to Twitter to call him greedy and lazy.
Oh, okay.
You don't speak Stallone.
No, I didn't get the subtitles.
He's greedy and lazy.
Subtitles are still not working, but I know now. That's okay.
He later tweeted that he would no longer be making statements on Twitter because he was entirely unused to being so easily understood. Harrison Ford stepped in at the last minute to fill in as a replacement character because presumably producers threw a rock in an old folks' home and missed Carl Weathers. And here, my good friends, is a clip.
It can't be.
We were close once. We started this whole Expendables thing together, but we had a falling out.
What are you gonna do?
Reload. Welcome to the 21st century.
I could do that. Want to slip on a dress and give it a shot?
This is it? This is your team?
Short notice.
Yeah, very short.
Yeah. So you saw this movie
Yes.
at the cinema.
Yeah. Don't pay to go see it.
So you went to a cinema and watched it in a cinema seat after paying to see it in the cinema.
Yeah, I regret doing that. It's one of those movies where it's fun to watch just because of the explosions and how bad and over the top the effects are.
Yeah. So any memorable moments that we should be aware of?
Actually, there is one. If you go watch the trailer, you see the memorable moment is when this dude is like riding on a motorbike and he uses the back of a helicopter, a crash helicopter, as a jump, and then literally jumps the motorcycle like 20 stories up.
Oh, because that's possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, I'll give this a shot. Why
in
not?
Expendables world, completely possible.
Yeah, so it's a cartoon, basically. And lots of in-jokes. I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I remember Expendables 2 is like, I'll be back. Oh, no, don't you be back. You've been back plenty. I'll be back.
Yeah.
And all that kind of noise. And don't they point out that Dolph Lundgren, they point at Dolph Lundgren's character and go, oh, he's got an engineering degree from MIT.
Yeah.
Because Dolph Lundgren has an engineering degree from MIT. He's actually a very intelligent man. He just sucks at acting.
And he looks like a dumpster trap. Like
He
dumpster
does,
fire.
yeah. He's a disaster area. What the hell's happened to him? He looks like he has that kind of that Mickey Rourke look.
I was about to say
Like
that.
he's made of wax and he's been left on the stove for a bit too long.
I think Mickey Rourke actually looks better.
Really?
Mickey Rourke actually looks like he's got this facial structure, whereas Dolph Lundgren's got this weird thing on the side of his face that lifts up his lips.
No, he looks like a sculpture made out of ham.
Yeah, actually, yeah, that's a better description. Much better description.
It's really weird because he was super handsome when he was big in the 80s.
Back in the day.
Back in the day, and then apparently he was just way too arrogant to work with, so they just went out to hell with you, and he dropped out of the acting game for decades, and then he did Sin City, and he's back. Christ, what happened to his face?
It's like with Boondock Saints. I was watching that a few weeks ago, and the first movie, brilliant movie, I love it.
Yeah.
And then when I watched the second one, and
Is that the one with Billy Connolly in it?
Yeah, both have Billy.
They both have Billy Connolly in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the brothers in the first one
Yeah.
looks totally normal.
Yeah.
In the second one, he's just like had a Botox attack. And he looks like a mix between a Caucasian and an Asian.
Yeah. So, attention actors, your agents tell you lies.
Don't listen to him.
They're not your friend. Anyway, so...
Can you turn on the subtitles? Like, seriously.
I'm sorry, well, this is a radio, so it's not a very visual medium.
Fine, I'll go get my Google Glass.
Okay. Anyway, we also have The Giver. Yes, Hollywood has stuck its lengthening fingers down the throat of the lucrative young adult book market once more and coughed up The Giver. Only this time, it's a completely new and untried idea in sci-fi cinema. Get this. It's a dystopian sci-fi about a future where order is maintained by keeping the people's emotions chemically regulated.
Like in Equilibrium?
No, this is new. This is a new sci-fi. And anyway, your role in society is assigned rather than chosen.
Like in Divergent?
No, listen. This is a new sci-fi. It's not... Just listen. No privacy is allowed and your activities are constantly monitored.
Like in that George Lucas movie, THX 1138?
Are you going to keep interrupting me or are you going to listen?
Most likely keep interrupting you.
Jonas is a young boy who is about to be given his assigned role,
Like in the Tripods trilogy?
but is told by the authorities that because of his peculiar abilities, he is to be assigned a singularly vital but dangerous
12
role.
Monkeys?
He meets with an old man who has access to many prohibited artifacts and secrets of the old world,
1984?
and he finds he must escape the confines of the city,
Logan's Run?
after he discovers to his horror that genetically inferior children are disposed of.
China?
Yeah, like in China.
Yeah. See? Not original.
No. Anyway, here's a clip.
Right there.
From great suffering came a solution. Communities.
Injected.
Serene, beautiful places where disorder became harmony.
Do you know how to fly those?
Absolutely.
Do you get to fly to the edge?
Oh, yeah.
What's past there?
Don't know. We're not allowed to fly past that.
Let's go.
They're called books.
Hello. My name...
I know who you are.
Who are you?
The giver. When the elders need guidance, I provide wisdom using memories of the past. Our world was different. There was more.
More?
Much more.
It seems like Jeff Bridges, ever since he got that Oscar nom for doing a funny voice in True Grit, everything he's done since, he's had to put on a funny voice.
Well, I reckon it suits him. It really does suit him.
He sounds like Bane without the mask.
But I'm going to say again.
the giver, and I have many secrets to impart to you. You know, you put your hands over your mouth like this and, "Hi, I'm Bane. Batman, I will destroy you."
I didn't know we had Jeff Bridges in here.
Yeah, I know. It's like he's in the room. Oh, anyway, The Given opens whenever. Who cares? Let's Be Cops, a wacky comedy. Oh, wait a minute. Let's Be Cops. There it is. A wacky comedy starring the spawn of Damon Wayans and some other guy, wherein a pair of inordinately irresponsible morons pose as cops to get laid, but then they become embroiled in a real crime involving mobsters and corrupt detectives, blah blah, inadvertent heroes, blah blah, dick and fart jokes, blah blah, next time I'm picking the movie, sweetheart. And here's a clip.
You don't jump out on brothers, man. You don't like that.
So we're going to the party tonight. Cops or ghosts, your choice.
I don't want to be a ghost.
Let's be cops.
People actually think we're cops.
Please freeze! Oh, that was awesome. Whoa, what do we have here?
Officers, this is...
Is this for real?
Damn! How far are we planning on taking this?
Where'd you get this thing?
eBay, dude.
This is super illegal, right?
This? No.
No?
Wow. We could go to jail for years for this.
All units, domestic disturbance in progress.
Yes.
No! Yes, no! Don't touch that! No!
3 females, early 20s, possibly intoxicated.
Oh, that's how it's sweet.
Yeah. Yeah?
It sounds funny.
Okay. Well, no, it might be. I mean, it's got a promising premise, but who knows? Damon Wayans Jr. is making a name for himself as the first member of the Wayans family to do comedy. A departure from the depressing tragedies his infamous forebears have been responsible for over the last 25 years. Oh, except for Requiem for a Dream. That was pretty funny. When we caught up with Damon Wayans Sr. in an exclusive Movie Groove interview last week, interviewer Abel Yapun asked about the logical supposition that being funny, Damon Jr. may not actually be his biological son. However, Wayans Sr. brushed off the rumours by affecting his familiar offensive gay falsetto voice, or he might have been doing his Prince impersonation. They're pretty much the same, we're really not sure. Anyway, that is everything on the screen and in the scene for this week, so until next week, know this: it's always darkest before the opening scene. The name of the show is Movie Groove, and sitting with me is Jotham Doraraj. Hey, how's it going?
I'm going good.
And a big shout out tonight to Jess Hinkler, who's working very, very hard on her assessments and assignments. She's our biggest fan at the moment, I understand. Post something on the website, Jess, so that we know that there's people out there. The name of the Facebook page is Movie Groove. It's easy to find. How about an encouraging comment? Also, there's a podcast available on YouTube, so you can search for that. Movie Groove, podcast, Alister Lockhart. Any of those words will take you there. All the goodness that we put to wear is in podcast form on the YouTube channel. Enjoy and leave an encouraging comment. Subscribe. Click on like. Click on all the ads. I'll make more money that way.
Click on everything.
Please?
Pretty please?
I don't like to beg, but I will. I have no shame. I'm
He
going to
really
show my
does
nipple
not.
to the webcam. There you go. That's for Freddie. On the other end of the web, see that? Hang on, I'll give it a... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there you go, Freddie. Because Freddy the Turk is on the other. Freddy the Turk, people are safe when near him. Freddy the Turk, only the evil fear him. Softness in his eyes, iron in his thighs, virtue in his heart, and fire in every part of the mighty Freddy the Turk. Yes, our amazing boss, Freddy the Turk, is probably off somewhere, conquering the world or something. Giving Rupert Murdoch what for, dropping some awesome science on him. Go on you, Fred. We love you, man.
I miss Freddy. I haven't seen him in a while.
I know. Well, he's back in... we can't really... It's actually a state secret, his movement, so even though I'm privy to this information, I'm not allowed to say. Certainly not on air. Because,
you get in trouble.
you know, when you're as amazing as Freddy the Turk, you make enemies. And not in this room, anyway. Anyway, we'll get on with the show. Every week, I like to remind the listeners that my favourite bit of the Oscars is the In Memoriam segment, but why wait until March when we can enjoy death every week? In a little bit, we call Dead for Reals.
Behind the clouds, the sun is shining. There's a big blue sky waiting right behind the clouds.
Well, you're dead now, so shut up.
Yes, and if you're listening to the show right now and thinking they usually do this bit at the end of the show, well, this week, sports fans, we've got so many dead people that I thought, this is a bit depressing. Let's do this at the middle of the show so that we can end on a high note. You know, I might start doing that every week.
I think it's a lot better.
You know, it's, hey, comedy and funny and wacky, and then, and by the way, the following people have died. Thank you for listening to Movie Groove. Good night. Don't have nightmares.
It's like the end of a Goosebumps episode.
Yeah. Or there used to be an old show called A Touch of Evil with Frank Thring, and he would do that at the end of every show. And there's a touch of evil in all of us. You know Frank Thring?
No.
Have you ever seen Mad Max Thunderdome? Mad Max 3 Beyond Thunderdome?
No, I've actually never seen any of the Mad Max movies.
That's your homework, buddy. There's your homework assignment for next week. You've got to watch the Mad Max trilogy. The first one is... the second one is... Whoa. And the third one is not as bad as people would have you believe. I watched it the other week, and even though it's not as good as the second one, that's a big ask. It holds up okay. I liked it.
Oh, if you like it, then I'm pretty sure that I'll
The trouble is that for half the movie, Mel Gibson's wearing a dress and just this ridiculous mullet. It's even worse than the one that he's got in Lethal Weapon. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Even worse than the one that
this.
Yeah.
I really do.
Oh boy, it is so 80s. And Tina Turner plays the bad guy. Anyway. Big shout out to George.
I'm excited now.
Yeah, and Fury Road, of course, is coming out soon, and I so hope that it's not going to be crap. I'm hoping against hope that this time it will actually be good.
Tom Hardy's the main character, right?
Tom Hardy, yeah. Tom Hardy's they've replaced him. Thank God for that, because well, Mel's a little bit old to be playing the character, and of course he's completely insane.
Oh, that's why he was perfect for Expendables.
Anyway, Dead for Reals. Boy, oh boy, did the Reaper have a bumper harvest this week. We've buried so many famous folks, the only people smiling are The Undertaker. And first up, we've got Joe Viscasil. When you've got spots on your bottom, rub in some Viscasil. That's not funny. Joe Viscasil, you don't know who I'm talking about, but you'll weep when you hear this. We've lost the miniature pyro effects master that destroyed the Death Star in Star Wars and the Imperial Walkers in The Empire Strikes Back. He detonated nukes on U.S. soil in True Lies and Return of the Living Dead. He blew up a truck and leveled a research facility in Terminator 1 and 2, obliterated a genocidal asteroid with Bruce Willis on it, thanks for that, in Armageddon, vanquished the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man in Ghostbusters, and is crowning Oscar-winning glory, raising the White House to its foundations in Independence Day. This man was responsible for some of the biggest and most memorable moments in cinema history, at a time when explosions were used to advance the plot, rather than as a plot substitute. Michael. Joe died due to complications from liver and kidney failure. Bit of a drinker, I'm guessing. A subdued end to a big noise in Hollywood. He was 63. And next, in the mass grave, we have Marilyn Burns. Simpson, eh? No, not that one. Marilyn Burns. I love a lady whose name is a sentence. You ever play that game? Where you have to name as many stars as you can think of whose names are a sentence? Tom Waits.
No, I've never actually played that game.
Andy Summers. Shelley Winters. Tyra Banks. No?
I have a feeling...
Britney Spears.
It would be good for the first few
and then
hours.
it would take...
and then...
It would take a little while. So, she was born in 1949 in Erie, Pennsylvania, and raised in Houston, Texas. She was one of the original Scream Queens, that unfortunate breed of Hollywood actress whose primary skill is to scream convincingly while being eviscerated. Still, a girl's got to eat, and it is an underrated talent in Hollywood, if you've seen Brian De Palma's Blowout. It's an old movie with John Travolta where he plays a guy who records sound for a living.
Ooh.
And in the first scene, they're shooting this horror movie, and the girl who's in it has a really lame scream. And then, spoiler alert, if you don't want to hear the end of Blowout, tune out in 3, 2, 1. At the end of the film, his girlfriend gets murdered, and he's wired her with a mic. And they actually, at the end, you know, his director's going like, "Oh, that's a great scream. Where did you get that scream?" And he's sitting there going like, that's the end of the movie. It's really dark.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's just messed up.
I know. So, the 70s, they were a complicated time. Anywho, Marilyn is remembered mostly for her role as the one that got away in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre of 1974, and her follow-up appearance was in Hooper's Death Trap in 1977, where she played a vacationer who unwittingly stumbles upon a hotel run by a madman who feeds his guests to his pet alligator. Oh, he's an animal lover, that's nice. Marilyn earned her Scream Queen status by starring in other horror movies, Kiss Daddy Goodbye in 1981 and Future Kill in 1985, and she appeared in the television movie Helter Skelter as Linda Kasabian, the Charles Manson follower whose testimony helped lead to the convictions of the cult leader and many of his followers. Marilyn also had an uncredited cameo as a patient on a gurney in the unfortunate sequel Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation in 1994. It was crap. Cause of death is unreleased at this stage. I guess they finally got her. Marilyn Burns was 65. And next we have Dick Smith. Now, here in Australia that's a familiar name, but don't panic, Aussie listeners. Self-made millionaire philanthropist and skeptical activist Dick Smith is alive and well, at least at the time of writing. Whereas today we honour the passing of Dick Smith, the makeup artist who transformed 46-year-old Marlon Brando into the 65-year-old Vito Corleone in 1970's The Godfather. Smith was the makeup director for the National Broadcasting Company for the 14 years and developed and pioneered several techniques still in use today. He was the first ever artist to apply facial prosthetics in bits.
Ooh.
So that the actors could actually perform through it, because before that they would just put a rubber mask on you and you would have to go, I'm an ape. Welcome to the planet of the apes.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting, actually.
So he was a real master, and of course he led the way, and he was still leading the way when he was working late into his life. So where am I here?
Did you lose yourself?
I lost my place in the script. Smith was in charge of TV makeup for the Democratic National Convention in 1948 and made up Franklin D. Roosevelt Jr., the President of the United States. He studied at Yale as a pre-med to be a dentist. Yikes. But in his sophomore year, he read a book on the Hollywood makeup for the filming of The Hunchback of Notre Dame in 1939 and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde in 1941. Ooh. He soon began to do makeup for the drama group and found his path, continued to lead the way in the art form and well into the latter part of the next century. While many makeup artists are secretive about their techniques, he was known for openly sharing his knowledge with others, including his protege, Rick Baker. You know about him?
His name sounds very familiar.
Right, Rick Baker was a special effects artist who designed makeup and physical creature effects for An American Werewolf in London, Starman, The Nutty Professor, and Tim Burton's 1991 remake of Planet of the Apes. Bad movie, great makeup.
That's why I remember.
Yeah. So Michael Clark Duncan is this massive gorilla. That was great. Remember that one?
Yep.
Yeah. Awesome, but a terrible movie. Well, what are you going to do? It's Tim Burton. Although Smith is best known for his work with Brando to create Vito Corleone, his other works include the demonic Reagan from The Exorcist, Travis Bickle's Mohawk in Taxi Driver, the robotic housewives from The Stepford Wives, the morphing William Hurt in Altered States, the vampire David Bowie in The Hunger, Miracle Grow Jeff Bridges in Starman, and won an Academy Award in 1984 for his transformation of F. Murray Abraham Salieri from a man in his 30s to a man in his 80s.
Wow.
Makeup effects so good that when I first saw it, this is true, I genuinely couldn't decide whether it was makeup or whether it was just a really similar looking and much, much older actor. That's how good it was.
Wow.
I just couldn't tell. I mean, maybe it was the lighting as well.
And now it's just like, oh yeah, no, we'll fix it up on the computer.
Because I don't understand how they can't do stuff that good anymore. Because if you saw Watchmen was a great movie, but the makeup effects, some of the makeup effects were really horrible. Like the guy, you know, they had presumably there was an actor under there when the guy who played Richard Nixon looked like an animatronic robot. It was a really horrible makeup job. It was terrible. So. Anyway, he died at home of complications due to a broken hip and is currently working on a super realistic effect that transforms very, very slowly from a sleeping 92-year-old man into a hideous desiccated corpse. Dick Smith was 92. That wasn't funny.
These jokes are just going like
I
really
know.
well from the start of the show
To
like. Thanks, guys. I completely agree. Completely agree.
Do you want to write the gags?
No, because I'm.
Yeah,
dumb
okay.
When it comes to gags.
Nobody asked me to come to gags. Yeah. See? They love me here.
Sure, they do.
They do.
For everyone else, he's holding a gun. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay, I'll tell a gag. The other day I saw this baseball, but I couldn't work out why it was getting bigger. And then it hit me.
That's a good one.
Thank you. Next, we've got Lauren Bacall. Lauren Bacall was born Betty Joan Persky in New York City in 1924. She originally wanted to be a dancer, but later she became enthralled with acting. She had studied at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York after high school and did some off-Broadway she did some off-Broadway productions. That's not true at all. Once I've defamed a classic actress. That's terrible. I should be horsewhipped. Please can I be
there was
horsewhipped?
no sarcasm sign there, so.
All right, producers. Once out of school, she did some modelling and see, that's a visual gag. That's not going to work on radio.
Works for me.
She did some modelling and appeared on the cover of Harper's Bazaar, which was one of the most popular magazines in the U.S. The wife of famed director Howard Hawks spotted the picture and arranged to have Lauren take a screen test. So there's screen test, finger quotes. She was given the part of Marie Browning in To Have and Have Not from 1944, a thriller opposite the great Humphrey Bogart when she was only 19 years old. It would be one of Hollywood's greatest love stories and the first of several Bogey Bacall films, and the two stars were married in 1945, when she was only 20. So, lucky old Bogey. After 1945's Confidential Agent, Lauren received second billing in The Big Sleep with Bogey in 46, which became a massive success. The couple went on to make Dark Passage in 1947. You want that one? No. And
47.
And Key Largo in 1948. Now a star in her own right, she went on to make 1950's Bright Leaf and How to Marry a Millionaire in 1953. The film, which co-stars Marilyn Monroe and Betty Grable, was a smash hit. After filming 1957's Designing Women, husband Humphrey Bogart died of throat cancer. The devastated widow moved back to Broadway, where she worked constantly for 5 years. Through the 60s and 70s, she made a film a year, including Murder on the Orient Express, and co-starred with John Wayne in his final film, The Shootist, in 1976. He died of cancer as well, 3 years later, which just kind of sucks.
It's kind of reminding me of Watchmen. Dr. Manhattan.
Oh, yeah, Doctor Everywhere she goes, people are dying of cancer. I'm sure it wasn't her. Anyway, in 1981, she played an actress being stalked by a crazed admirer in The Fan, a fascinating thriller with Lauren in the lead. She also appeared in 1990's Misery. That was great. You know the one where James Caan gets his ankles broken with a sledgehammer? Yeah. And 1996 My Fellow Americans with Jack Lemmon and James Garner, who we looked at a couple of weeks ago. Still working in the 20th century, she co-starred with Nicole Kidman in Dogville and Birth, and also did animation voice work, including Miyazaki's Howl's Moving Castle, Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King, and most recently, Family Guy. And we've got a little clip of the lady herself. Way back in the day, when they did these films, they had this thing called the Hays Code. Very early on, Hollywood movies were not regulated, and so they were really salacious, and you could pretty much do whatever you like. So even for the time, they were really racy. They had boobies in them and everything.
Whoa.
Yeah. So they got a Presbyterian guy called Hayes to come up with it. They thought we better regulate ourselves because if we leave the government to do it, then we're knackered. So they got this guy to make a whole bunch of things. And after that, there was a whole lot of stuff that you couldn't do. So Sexy Time became all allegorical and kind of double talky. No, it was actually fairly interesting.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, here's a scene where she and Bogey are apparently talking about one thing, but in actual fact are talking about another. Listen to this.
Well, speaking of horses, I like to play them myself. But I like to see them work out a little first. See if they're front runners or come from behind. Find out what their whole card is. What makes them run.
Find out mine?
I think so.
Go ahead.
I'd say you don't like to be rated. You like to get out in front. Open up a lead, take a little breather in the back stretch, and then come home free.
You don't like to be rated yourself.
I haven't met anyone yet that could do it. Any suggestions?
Well, I can't tell till I've seen you over a distance of ground. You got a touch of class, but I don't know how far you can go.
A lot depends on who's in the saddle. Go ahead, Marla. I like the way you work.
Oh, you naughty little minx.
That was
smutty.
That was interesting.
Gracious me. So, a true legend of cinema's golden age, the movies and stars of today categorically failed to impress her, and when asked about the Twilight movies, she said, "Yes, I saw Twilight. My granddaughter made me watch it. She said it was the greatest vampire film ever." After the, finger quotes, film was over, that's what it was written. I wanted to smack her across the head with my shoe, but I do not want a tell-all book called Granny Dearest written about me when I die. So instead I gave her a DVD of Murnau's 1922 masterpiece Nosferatu and told her, "Now that's a vampire film, and that goes for all of you. Watch that instead." So, well, yeah, quite right. Bacall was also married to fellow actor Jason Robards and is mother to 3 children. Of her family, she said, "I remember my oldest son, Steve, saying to me once, 'Don't ever remember seeing you with an apron on.' And I said, 'That's right, honey, you didn't.'" I like that. I like more. Lauren Bacall died on Tuesday of a stroke. She was 90 years old. And next, of course, and we all know this one, we have, unfortunately, Robin Williams in news that's news to no one. The world no longer has Robin Williams in it, and frankly, it just sucks. There's nothing that I can say at this point that hasn't already been said. So I'm just going to close with this little passage from Alan Moore from the graphic novel Watchmen. "I heard a joke once. Man goes to doctor, says he's depressed, says life is harsh and cruel, says he feels all alone in a threatening world. Doctor says, treatment is simple. The great clown Pagliacci is in town tonight. Go see him. That should pick you up. Man bursts into tears, says, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. Good joke. Everybody laugh. Roll on snare drum. Curtains. Robin Williams was 63, and we miss him already. That's the final bow. It's curtains once again on Dead for Reals. We'll see you on the other side. Every now and again on this show, we like to have a look at news from around the world that makes the geek clique bust its leak. This, folks, is the Geekly Roundup.
I'm nerdy in the extreme and whiter than sour cream. I was in a V club and Glee club and even the chess team. Look at me, I'm white and nerdy.
Yes, and today in the Geekly Roundup, The Wrap reports that Universal is digging up some vampires. Oh, Jesus Lord. The studio has picked up the rights to author Anne Rice's novels in the Vampire Chronicles series, which includes Interview with the Vampire, the book that featured non-sparkling vampires that somehow managed to be even gayer, more boring douchebags than those of the Twilight series.
I didn't think that was possible.
Well, believe me, it is. Because not only did I watch the movie, I also read the book, thinking it couldn't possibly be as bad as the movie. Oh yes, it could. The book was adapted to the big screen in 1994 and starred Tom Cruise as the vampire Lestat, a rich, self-absorbed prick with a Creole accent so badly off the mark it managed to offend people who don't even speak English. And Brad Pitt as Louis, a rich, self-absorbed prick who, once willingly transformed into a vampire, does nothing other than mope and bitch and whine for the entire movie. Maybe he should start his own radio show. The continuing and frankly baffling popularity of this turgid, meaningless garbage, of course, means more movies and thusly increases the risk that when I go, I'll be taking others with me. There's no word on a reboot of Interview with the Vampire, but now this news is out, a reboot seems inevitable. However, we don't know where the producers will pick up or begin from. Brian Grazer will produce along with Alex Kurtzman and Roberto Orci, who apparently are joining forces again to bring the same kind of quality they lent to the current Star Trek, Spider-Man and Transformer movies.
Don't do it.
So set your expectations to Highlander 2, because there can only be shit. Universal and Imagine Entertainment have rights to all existing and future novels in Rice's Vampire Chronicles series, including a screenplay for The Tale of the Body Thief, which was written by Rice's son, author Christopher Rice, who has taken up the mantle of producing pandering dross for teenagers so socially misaligned that even the goth kids can't stand them. Also, we have Assassin's Creed. Good news for gamers. IGN reports Michael Fassbender, who is producing and starring in the feature film adaptation of Assassin's Creed, has spoken out to shed some light on what's being described. Look at you jumping in your seat.
I'm a big fan of Assassin's Creed. I'm so excited for this. Don't make it crap.
Oh, we need to talk about this. What's being described as a mysterious project despite being based on a game franchise a decade old. In recent weeks, certain publications question whether Fassbender was still attached amidst rumours of script problems. In a video game movie? Can we get a confirmation on the current levels of woodland bear shit? I know, I love these rumours. It's fantastic, Fassbender told IGN. They talk about it and they're hopefully interested. Nothing has changed. Yeah, I'm still a part of Assassin's Creed and we're working on the script as we speak. Actually, I'm going back to see the writers when I get back to Europe. In other words, it looks like the movie is going to be just like the game. Looks fantastic, but once it gets going, it's less fun than a Brahmin Bishop sex doll. Prior video game adaptation... Did you play the first one?
I've played all of them.
You played... So what did you think? Because the first one just killed it for me.
The first one, the only frustrating thing about the first one was going from one place to another on horseback.
That was the only frustrating thing for you?
Yeah, for me. That was the only...
Okay, well, the frustration with me started with the fact that all of the cutscenes were intensely boring and yet unskippable.
Actually, yeah.
Welcome, assassin. When my forefathers first came to this country, we blah, 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 and on he goes, and you're wandering around the room looking at things and trying to find something to do, blah, 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 history, blah, 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 exposition, blah, blah, backstory stuff, blah, 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 blah. None of which has got the slightest bearing on anything. And then you get your mission, and... I remember when I got to Jerusalem, it's like the second city, and it is stunningly beautiful, and the way that you interact with the environment is just astonishing. That's all it's got. There's like 3 different side quests, and the only other thing to do is just stab people. So I got the first mission, which is you got to find this guy and kill him. And then just by coincidence, my first hint that the game was fundamentally broken was just simply by coincidence, the first side quest I did happened to be the one that gave me the crucial piece of information I needed in order to find the guy. Oh, that was easy. So I go and find the guy, and I've got to kill him. And they've got the scenario where he's like up on a balcony. And he's like, "Bwah ha 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 ha. I have lured you here, and now I'm going to escape while all of my bad guys attack you." And so they all kind of attack you. And because the combat's broken, you have to sort of run backwards and fight him at the same time in a circle. Which doesn't work all that well, so I thought, sod this. What are my other options? I know. I'll just run past them. So I did. I just ran past him and climbed up a ladder. Easy peasy. I caught the guy in no time at all.
Yeah,
and stabbed him in the neck. And then the border of the screen came in and he went, "I'm dying. But first, when my forefathers first came to this country, blah, 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 blah." I was like, oh, Jesus, balls. Shut up. Please shut up. But there's no stab more option. There's no stab several times option. There's no cut all the airs out of his...
That would be so good.
Oh, so on and on and on he goes. And then finally he runs out of breath and dies after I've been for a piss and made a cup of tea and, read some of War and Peace. Finally the game starts again and it goes, "Oh, it looks like you finished the Jerusalem level, but there seems to be an awful lot still to do here that you haven't done. Do you want to stick around and do it?" And at that point I just switched to shit off. I was not impressed by Assassin's Creed. I didn't check out any of the others. I played a little bit of 2 and just thought, nah, you know what, I don't care. So...
one thing about Assassin's Creed I've found over the last how many years is that they're known for those environments. That's what they've built their foundations on.
Easily the most beautiful game of that year. And the next one, probably.
Oh, if you've seen the latest one, you will be amazed.
No doubt.
To a point.
Yeah.
It's the Caribbean, so...
Oh, that sounds good.
Oh. And you can go, swim in the water, and the water actually looks real for once.
Yeah, see, that's fantastic, but that doesn't make a good game.
It's the first point to a good game, I think.
Not necessarily. There's lots of games that are absolutely fantastic that look like arse.
Yeah.
But
the third one was total crap. and everyone knows that.
Yeah.
Because everything was just shit.
Yeah, well, see, this is the thing, is that when I was a kid, you used to imagine what it would be like if there was a video game where everything looked and felt real, and Assassin's Creed was it, and it was just as boring as shit because there was nothing to do.
Yeah.
There was nothing to do in the game.
I think it was too realistic at first, but then they kind of made it more entertaining.
Well, anyway,
Play the new ones.
Having done some game development myself, I'm pretty sure that they worked very, very hard to get it looking and feeling and working absolutely fantastic. I went, oh dear, now we have to make a game. 3 side quests, that's it. So, anyway, back to the movie. Prior video game adaptations have been hit or miss, but only if you leave the S off hit. If you saw Prince of Persia, you'll know that a great game does not a great movie make. Note to scriptwriters, gameplay devices and plot points are not the same thing.
Can I just say one more thing?
Yeah.
Doom is also another one.
Oh, boy.
I just had to bring that up.
Yeah, no, well, the thing about Prince of Persia is that, okay, so the Sands of Time, the knife that reverses time, that was just a gameplay device designed to deal with the fact that in the original game, if you died, you had to go all the way back to the beginning again. And it was really irritating. It was a massive rage quit thing. So the knife is to give you a second or third chance at doing that very difficult jump so that you don't end up going back to the beginning so often. Right? That's what it's for. That's a gameplay device. It's not a plot point, but then they make the movie with that exact plot point, that thing in it as a plot point. So basically the main character is, for the entire movie, carrying around a device in his pocket that reverses time. So explain to me why I need to give a damn about anything that happens in this film. The love interest could get her head lopped off at the collarbone and it won't matter a shit.
Yeah.
Because he can reverse time at any point. The movie is pointless. And then, of course, it ends with, it was all a dream. If you're going to do that, you might as well, instead of a credit sequence, just have a massive middle finger for the audience. Ha ha, you stupid bastards. Thanks for your money. Piss off home. Oh, God. This stuff makes me angry. Did you notice?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Anyway, Fassbender says, we absolutely want to respect the game. Trouble brewing. There's so much cool stuff in the game that we're actually spoiled for choice in terms of what we can use and what we can't. Jesus, what did I just say? But we also want to bring new elements to it and perhaps our own version of things that already exist in the game. Just write a story about a Dark Ages assassin. How is this difficult?
I don't think they want to just focus on the assassin. I think they want to focus on more of the Desmond side of the story also.
Oh, Desmond. There's the name of a hero. Anyway, Fassbender doesn't usually play video games. Again, trouble brewing. He says he's been working directly with Ubisoft, who is producing the film along with New Regency. There's a difficulty. A bunch of studio suits who know even less about storytelling have taken it upon themselves to fix the script.
That's
My
what
prediction.
I'm worried about.
Yeah. That's what happened to Street Fighter. Like, if you read the making of Street Fighter, the director was trying to make a movie, but the game company were going like, no, we have to stuff all of the characters in there, and that'll make a better movie. No,
it won't.
Anyway, Inhumans. Marvel is developing the Inhumans. Marvel is developing the Inhumans, according to a recent report from Collider. A report that has comic geeks everywhere united in a chorus of, who? My guess is the call went like this. Hey Stan, Guardians is a hit. What else have you got? I don't know. The Inhumans? Great title. Wait, how many of them are there? 5. We're going to be rich. The Inhumans are a bunch of superpowered folk who evolved from ancient humans experimented on by the Kree, the same alien race as Ronan the Accuser in Guardians of the Galaxy. They've recently made a resurgence in the comics as their Terrigenesis mists spread into the atmosphere, revealing dormant Inhumans across the Marvel Universe, including the new Muslim American Ms. Marvel. She's had a weird backstory.
Oh, I never read him.
At some point, she was like her own grandma or something. I don't know. I'm familiar with the Kree through Avengers Assemble. It's an animated series my kids are wholly addicted to. The Kree are all sorts of evil, and they're shapeshifters as well, so they're particularly dangerous, unless they transform into Scarlett Johansson, in which case I'd probably just go along with it.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't complain either.
No. There's a great scene from the comics. The story, Tony Stark is in bed with the Black Widow. And she's going like, haha, Mr. Stark, but you don't know that she transforms into a Kree. And she goes, I'm actually an evil alien. He goes, yeah, whatever. Are we going to do this sex thing? And she said, I just transformed into a green alien. And he said, yeah, but, if it's good enough for Kirk, it's good enough for me. Tony Stark, man.
Classic Tony.
Classic Tony, yeah. Oh, that was quite good. Most likely Inhuman storylines to be plumbed for their content involve the royal family. That's the Black Bolt, their king, and a power struggle with his brother Maximus the Mad is probably on the cards. Medusa the Queen will be cool with some CGI living hair effects, and Lockjaw the teleporting dog. That'll no doubt be an early favourite with manufacturers of crappy merch. Anyway, that's all we have on the Geekly Roundup this week, and until next time, remember, if it ain't an obsession, then sweetheart, it just ain't geek. Here's Primal Scream. And let that be a lesson to you. If you've just tuned in, this was Movie Groove and you've missed a show. That's all we've got. It's goodbye from Alister and goodbye from Jotham.
Goodbye. Till the next time, guys.
Until next time, enjoy your lives.
Movie Groove, 7 to 9 Thursdays on Energy Groove Radio.